Sometimes, when communicating with colleagues, you can find out things about a loved one that you don't even want to know. My wife Lena and I lived together for 12 years. There is a son, Andre, a schoolboy. We lived well, loved my wife. Of course, she was not my first love, but definitely my greatest. Lena works for a large company that deals with wholesale sales of all kinds of electrical goods. She started at the age of 20 as an assistant sales manager, and by the age of 30 she became a deputy director. As they say, she was in good standing and in a warm place. And large companies still have this tradition of holding corporate events, when they rent a restaurant for all employees, where they drink alcoholic beverages, dance and hold all sorts of competitions there. And all this, as they say, is for team unity. I don't mind such events. I just never went to a corporate event with my wife at her company. The company's policy was that it was not allowed to take family members on these holidays. Yes, I didn't insist. He brought his wife to the restaurant in the evening and took him home in the morning. In general, it's normal, but I always had someone to drink with anyway. And then something began to change in their management. The general director was replaced. Some branch directors were also fired and new people took their place. My Lenka also had a new boss. This one already had a different policy. On the contrary, he wanted to have an idea about the families of his employees. So he allowed married couples to come to the New Year's corporate party. My wife was very fussed before this event. After all, the new management needs to carry out everything at the highest level. I instructed the girls and the managers to order everything, and in the evenings after work I hung on the phone and asked everyone what the menu was, who the host and DJ were. I tried really hard, and then the day of the corporate party arrived. Lenka and I arrived at the restaurant half an hour before the main gathering of guests to check how everything was prepared for the holiday. My wife went inside, and I stayed on the porch to smoke, and as soon as I took out a cigarette, a man came up to me, about 40 years old, his jacket sticking out from under his sheepskin coat, smelling of cologne, generally dressed up for a corporate event, and he asks, "For a corporate party?" I answer, "There. I already drank a little beer with my friend so as not to waste time. I don't recognize you. You're probably from the warehouse?" He continues, but I wasn't really in the mood to explain who I was and where I was from, so for some reason I lied. "Yes, from the warehouse." "Yes. I understand. Treat me to a cigarette." The man doesn't give up. I gave him a cigarette and a lighter. We'll have a wonderful rest today." So this guy says, "Today, I plan to look after our Elena Vasilievna. She keeps making eyes at me. Apparently, she's determined to strengthen her working relationship." And he laughed. Well, if anyone doesn't understand, Elena Vasilievna is my Lenka, and as you understand, I really didn't like such plans for my wife. Only this guy spoke about her with painful confidence. So I told him, without admitting anything, "Come on, you mean she's married?" He'll laugh. "Oh, and when did this interfere? There hasn't been a single corporate event where she hasn't taken someone to a separate office." In the past, this was how Vaska, his manager, later fired him, and the year before last, I think I slept with the previous director. Well, in general, as someone is going to leave, she arranges such a farewell meeting. Of course, I'm not going to quit, but I won't give up intimacy with her for once. He put out the cigarette and went to the restaurant, and while I stood there I smoked 2 more cigarettes. I'm digesting all this information. I realized that I can't see this wife anymore. I'll just kill her and that's it. I caught a taxi by hand and went home. My missus started calling me about 10 minutes later, but I didn't pick up. And an hour later, she flew home disheveled, red and angry. "Are you normal at all? Why are you setting me up?" "Well, can't you just sit at a corporate party once?" "Yes, I sat," I answered, "but I don't want any fun." "Why are you so upset? I would have prevented you from completing your standard event program." "What program? Are you drunk already or what?" Well, here I was already screaming, privacy with an employee you especially liked in a separate room. Is there at least one person in your damn office to whom you didn't give? You know. She was so taken aback and sat down on the sofa. all red. Did they tell you about Tolia? And here I started laughing. And there was also Tolia. But I know about Vajja and about the director. I think his name was Sasha. Yes. There were a couple more names flashing around. She shuddered, covered her face with her hands, and fell silent. Why are we sitting and being silent? I ask. Should I name names? No. He answers quietly. So you did. You can't even deny it? She didn't answer me anything else. And I'll be honest. I screamed and broke the closet with my fist out of anger. But I didn't touch this rubbish. I threw some things into my bag and went to my parents. Now I'm filing for divorce. There is a trial and division of property ahead, and finding out who the son will stay with. Now I need to somehow explain to him that I love him very much. But I will no longer live with his mother. And I can imagine how many people knew about her adventures and didn't tell me anything. Is it that these people are led by fear? Solidarity? Indifference? I can imagine how the homeworkers laughed. This is how she broke up her own family for the sake of some corporate lovers. Then, of course, she called and tried to fix everything for me and my parents. The negotiator sent her girlfriends with songs about how everything happens in life and we must be able to forgive. But I don't know who, of course, needs it. Even if he forgives and looks like a clown. But I no longer care about the fate of my ex-wife, as long as everything is fine with my son. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe to our channel and you will the first listeners of another new story.